and welcome to the talk video, whatever you want to call it, in terms of the new setup, okay, of what I'm attempting to do going into the 2026 off-season. Now, this for me is a completely different setup. A lot of you would have seen on my stories where there's like a 390 rep leg day, wasn't made up, wasn't a fictitious number. We are going for what I class as like ultimate volume. Okay, and what I mean by that is putting as much volume in a session as possible. Now, it'll all make sense when, obviously, I pair it with the nutrition, the anabolics, and insulin, growth hormone, and everything like that in terms of like growth. Okay, so the main focus behind it is this theory, this setup, and everything was made popular by a person called Milos Sarev. I don't know if you've seen him or heard of him. He is a bodybuilder from way back when. Okay, and he coaches a lot of people now in terms of obviously a lot of pro bodybuilders, a lot of amateurs going to pro, a lot of top level amateurs and things like that. Now, my coach Ryan has obviously tried this before, and you have to be in a certain place to do it. You have to have a lot of freedom in terms of like you have to be able to do what is needed to be done at the times that it's needed to be done for this to be successful. Okay, so in terms of like eating the meals, obviously has to be perfectly timed because of the use of insulin and things like that. Anabolics can't be obviously messed about. Food has to be like unbelievably perfect. And then the training. Now the training is extremely high volume, and I wouldn't recommend this style of training to anyone who has a very active job. I don't think it'd be something that could be easily fitting for them. Now, like I mentioned before, we are looking at extreme high volume. So my usual training goes anywhere between 12, 14 sets. Okay, now we are looking around the 30 to 35 sets per workout. Okay, my usual sets would consist of a front and a back off, i.e. a 6 to 9 or a 6 to 10, and then a back off of a 12 to 15, a 15 to 20, somewhat similar, somewhat along that lines. Now we are looking at one of the exercises of the 35 sets being, a superset, where there's 4 sets of 20 superset with something else with 4 sets of 20. So that gives you an idea of how much of a volume shift this has actually become, where a lot of the sets are, thinking about the workout, I can't think of one where it's under a 10, okay, or under a 15 to 20. Okay, it's an extremely high volume session. Okay, now with this, we pair this with obviously the food. Now the food itself is, we are running an extremely high amount of carbohydrates. A baseline level of protein is 250 gram. Now I currently weigh around 200 pound. Okay, so you get the idea. It's about 1.1 to 1.2 gram per pound of body weight, which is covering that basis fine. Now, protein, carbohydrate wise, we are pushing heavy. Carbohydrates have actually gone up as of today to 850. Now, with around, we do 200 of them pre. Okay, 200 grams of carbohydrates pre, 125 grams of carbohydrates intra, and 250 grams of carbohydrates post. Okay, so that gives you an idea of exactly where we're partitioning our carbohydrates. Okay, we're having it all around the workout window. Now, pairing alongside this, we are running obviously 15 IUs of insulin pre and 15 IUs of insulin post. Now, please bear in mind, to cover the basis of insulin, you need 1 IU of insulin per 10 gram of carbohydrates, or 10 gram of carbohydrates per 1 IU of insulin. So we are running 15 IUs pre, so we need 150 grams of carbohydrates, hence why we're having 200. Post, we're running 15 as well. We need 15 IUs of insulin, hence why we're running 250, more than covering the basis, and also we're running 125 grams of carbohydrates intra as well. Now, why are we doing this? Now, we are looking at nutrient partitioning when we do this, okay? So getting the maximum volume, and then we're sending in the insulin as well to aid with glucose disposal, i.e. putting the glycogen and everything into the muscle, getting as much nutrients into the muscle. Looking at muscular swell when we do it, so i.e. putting as much volume in there to then aid with obviously transporting the nutrients into the muscle. Okay, it's very, very, very simple when it's laid out, very simply, okay? Now, the other side of it as well, obviously we put carbohydrates in the meal before, but obviously nowhere near as much because we're not utilising insulin at that point. We are running a basal insulin as well, which is 10 IUs, okay, with our first meal. Now again, we're more than covering the basis because that's 100 gram of carbs. Now throughout the rest of the day, obviously, I'm consuming well over 100 gram of carbs anyway, and then we've got the ones on top, so we've got 850 gram of carbs going in anyway, so we're covering the basis on the lot with IE, and our total insulin usage is 40 IUs, which is just before 400 gram of carbs. Now we're running 850 gram of carbs, so we completely cleared that. Now to balance that out, we're actually running 25 grams of fat, and this is going to be monitored very, very closely because fat is heavily, your brain function, everything is heavily influenced by your fat intake, okay? Now I don't usually like to go below 40, but we're just trialing it every, 2 or 3 days, feedback, and adjust from there, okay? Now, the same with, obviously, every rest day, it does kind of flip, okay? So we'll pull the carbohydrates down to 500. We'll increase the fat to 60, which, again, is obviously bringing that fat level back up to aid with, obviously, brain function, cognitivity, and everything like that. So we're more than covering the basis on that as well. Protein then gets up to 300, okay? So obviously, we still need them calories high because we're trying to grow. So we don't want to keep protein at a lower level. Well, 250, we like to push it up, giving us obviously more than enough. And then carbohydrates don't obviously need to be as much as on a training day because we're not training. We don't utilize carbohydrates, so we're better off with some form of fat in there to obviously aid with the recovery and things like that. So overall, yeah, I'm very excited for this. Pulling up the workouts now, obviously you can see the leg day on screen now, and you can just see exactly how many sets and everything and reps per exercise. So there is a lot. And like I'll mention at the end of this video, like after today's back session that I put in, that I'm going to load up now, I am just getting used to it. Now, speaking with Ryan previous, like just before I've had doing this video, he's confirmed that I'm probably going too heavy in some of the exercises, and you'll see from the back day that I don't quite get some of the numbers. Now, it's a very difficult thing when you've come from training in a set style to another style. We've always had the mentality of heavy, heavy, heavy. Now, what we need to have the mentality of here is volume, 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 and just get as much into that muscle as possible. It's a completely different way. And like I say, I have to see this next 4 weeks through to see if it works. Like, I do mention at the end of the video, because I recorded it before this, that, we have to, like now I'm finding it difficult more than mentally, more than anything, because I'm used to doing a front set and a back off set in terms of like, let's get as strong as possible in these. Now, we need to be focusing more on let's get as much fullness into that intended muscle. And then obviously we have the insulin driving the nutrients into that muscle as well. It's very, very simple, but it's just a bit of a mind. A bit of a mind, without swear, I don't want to swear, but you know what I mean. A bit of a mind. So yeah, it's just a case of we've got to see it through for these 4 weeks, and then me and Ryan will sit down and then take it from there. Now, alongside this, there is the anabolics as well. Now, what we've done previously is look at peak dosages, okay? Now, with anything in terms of like anabolic load, we need to look at surpassing what we've run previously, okay? Especially with this new training program, recovery, things like that. I think the capability is there to push a little bit more. So, previously, my all-time high has been 1,800 milligrams, okay, of anabolics. Now we're starting off at 1,000 milligrams in week 1. Week 2, we are going to titrate this up so that over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks, we will actually surpass the 1,800 milligram and be at around 1,900 to 2 gram, okay? And that's going to then allow us for the final 16 weeks or 12 to 16 weeks, depending on blood work, obviously ensuring getting blood work done at the 12-week mark. That'll give us the light to say, carry on, or no, we're going to call it a day there. It's very, very simple, but there'll be a period of time spent at the new milligram amount that my body's never ever seen before, and I think it's going to come in at the perfect time, i.e. when we get this right in terms of training performance and everything, and the numbers set out of what we need, I think everything will kind of come together and sit there. So here is the back session loaded up now, obviously after this chat, but you'll see, obviously, like I mentioned, there's a few things where we didn't quite hit the numbers, but again, we're attempting this session for the first time. So I know going back on it, I probably just need to pull back on a lot of things so we can get the 20-20-20-20 on a lot of the exercises. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you took something for it. I'll do another video every week or so explaining the plan and what we're doing and what we're at now. But just to give an insight, we're running at the moment 7 IUs of GH pre-bed, split pre-workout and pre-bed, 3.5, 3.5. We're also running basal insulin, which is your long-lasting insulin, 10 IUs pre-meal 1, okay? Then we have 15 IUs of fast-acting insulin Nova Rapid pre-workout, and 15 IUs post-workout, again, backed with the carbohydrates. Please do not attempt any of this without the right knowledge or the right coach. Do not do this off your own back. You will end up in the shit. Okay? Now, I've done it previous where I've gone hypo through my own fault, just getting distracted and not eating when I should have eaten. It's a very, very dangerous step to take if you get it wrong, if you don't know what you're doing. So do not attempt anything I've said without the proper guidance or a proper coach. Don't do it if you're all back, and don't guess it, because it will end in tears. Anabolic wise, like I said, we're running a total of 1,000 milligram now, split between testosterone and EQ. Okay, the reason we're running EQ is for estrogen control. Now, EQ's shown massive results in terms of controlling estrogen. Obviously, a lot of people were on the Master and Primo hype when it was about. Obviously, that's now disappeared completely. Now, EQ seems to be the most obvious choice in terms of like swapping out. Alongside that as well, I have a Arimidex just in case my estrogen starts to rise. Now, I have had high estrogen before. I know exactly the feeling of it, and I'll know when I'll have it. So I have the estrogen there, the Arimidex there, just to put in if needed as well. So hopefully, if you've got any questions, please let me know, and please do not attempt any of it. And don't message me saying I've done this or I've done that. Please only do this under proper guidance. If you do want proper guidance, drop me a message. But yeah, hopefully that clears it up. And here is the back session. So that is pull done and all logged, everything here. Obviously we are just getting used to this routine, so you would have seen there was some things where it's supposed to be 4 sets of 20. I didn't quite get there, so obviously adjusted as I went through. It's going to take some getting used to. I'm used to that 2 set per exercise, a heavy set, a back off set. It's a completely different way of training. Now, why are we doing it? It's very, very simple, okay? Now, every year we can put on we put on £10 a year, okay? We put on £20 in 2 years, very simple. What if there's another way? What if we can put on 15? What if we can put on 20? And just by doing something like this different, obviously our food's different, drugs are different, supplements are different, everything like that is different. And we're trying it. We're running it for 4 weeks to see, you know, the implications it can have, the impact it can have. It's tough. I'm not going to say it's not, but if I backdoor it now, I've not actually tried it. I've not given it a chance to actually have an effect on the body. I'm still learning the ropes with this whole training program, so I'm not quite hitting the rep ranges I need to hit for this program to work. So the next time I do the session, I'll then obviously tailor the weights accordingly so that we're closer or doing better in the session, i.e. lining up better. My whole thing is just trying to do as heavy as I can for 20 reps. Now that's probably not the key here. It's just about getting 20 reps and getting the volume into that back to then put 263 gram of Cocoa Pops in, 200 carbs. So yeah, it's just different. That's all it is for me. Gosh.